Well, hello, my name is Mark David Stallard and welcome to I'm Alive Animation. I'm alive, and I hold on to you. Today I'm rigging Mona's head to move up and down. Let's get rigging. The first thing we need to do when we're moving the head up and down is pretty much like everything else. We need a control bone. So I'm going to use the add tool bone, hold Alt and then click anywhere to make sure that no other bones are highlighted because I do not want this bone parented. I'm going to put the bone there right next to the head tone bone, then go up to the bone menu, make smart bone dial. I'm going to name this head turn. Head up down. I am now in the head up down action, and now to start to do it. I just need to decide if am I going down or is that going up. I think I'm going to do that going up. So when the bone is moved to the left, head's going to look up. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the head. So I'm going to mute the layers I'm not immediately working on. And just like I did with the head turn, I'm going to start on the head layer. It means we're going to start with the mouth, because that happens to be the layer I have the mouth layer on is the head layer. So I'm going to move the mouth up. I'm not really going to do very much by way of changing its shape at the moment, but I'm just going to move that up a little bit. And I'm going to just mute the inside mouth layer as well. Then I'm going to highlight the jaw, and she's got a little bit of a pointed chin there. So I'm actually going to flatten that up and square it up, because as the head looks up, that pointed chin kind of points towards us as the viewer, as the onlooker, and that will flatten out. So what we need to do then is just make sure that when we shorten that chin, that the mouth is the right distance from it. So I'm going to do something like that for the moment. I think that looks pretty good actually. I am going to make a modification to the mouth in a bit, but I'll do the finish doing the head first. So when we're looking up like that, the cheekbones are also going to go up. So I'm just going to highlight the points that define the cheekbones. Again, most of the stuff on the sides of the head is just going to be out of sight because the hair will be covering it. And when I move those points up and down, I'm holding down Shift just to keep them level. So that doesn't look too bad. I'm going to move those 2 points as well, just a smidge. There we go. And then that'll help to just retain that shape. Now as the head looks up, the forehead is actually going to come down a little bit. So I'm just going to highlight the forehead, just bring it down a bit. Not too much. There you go, you kind of get the idea that that's going up and down. I think what I will do with that mouth though is going to highlight it, and then there's this tool here which is kind of handy. I don't know if you ever really play with it, the bend points tool, and what you can do is you just click above, or in this case I'm going to click above the mouth, and I'm just going to drag down, and you'll see that it kind of gives it a little bit of a curl, bends the points. I'm now going to hold down Alt and just take that in just a little bit. There you go, and that looks actually pretty good there, and it looks like the mouth is going up and changing shape very slightly, and I think that's good. I think the head is as well as done there. Next we're going to go with the nose, which is a funny looking woman now, isn't she? Right. First thing I'm going to do is just get that base of that nose so it makes sense with that in relationship to the mouth before I make any changes. And I think I want to move up just a little bit, not too much more. I think that looks about right. And then I'm just going to leave the points highlighted and drag up all of the points up, and then we can look at we're looking now more under the nose. There you go, that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to go with the eyes. Okay, now in this particular case we are going to move each of the layers separately. It would be possible to move the layer if I wanted to, but I mean we can get something like that, but we're not quite going to get the look it kind of looks just a little bit flat, doesn't it? Yes, she says yes. So that's why I'm not doing that. We're going to just move the eyes individually. So I'm just going to treat the eyes as if they're a single unit, they're on the same layer, and I'm just going to move those up just a little bit, not too much, and I'm going to just mute the other layers because they are distracting. Okay, and I'm going to move those up, and I'm also going to use the bend point tools just a little bit. I'm going to bring those both down just a smidge, do it slowly. There we go. And I'm going to take both of them there, and I'm going to hold down Alt, just move them in a bit. And okay, that's not quite giving me the view I want, and I'm going to make this a little bit smaller as well. Oh, I think I misjudged doing it the long way. There we go. Yeah, we keep just keep adjusting until it kind of looks good, and I think we're looking good there. Right, and I'm going to touch each of the layers. I'm going to get the eye whites up, just highlight them all, move them up, and I am going to make it a little bit smaller. We've got a point here that's not quite working. That's going to stick out, but I think that looks good. And then onto the iris. Now the key is with the iris, or with the eyes, what we would really consider the eyes, is that this now needs to be looking forward. So it needs to be looking at the same. Oh, okay. Looks like I screwed up the eyes a little bit. I've moved them up, so I'm just going to bring them back down again. There we go. And so we're good. So we'll go back to the 5. We'll take the irises back up again, and we want to make sure that she is looking forward relative from where she is. So right, so I just want to make sure that that's what's happening. Oh, we got I think that linear problem I keep having is showing up again. So I'm just going to switch each of these layers back to smooth and then to linear again. So we just need to make sure that the eyes are looking in the right direction, so she's not looking directly at us. She's supposed to be looking straight ahead relative to the head. And then if we need her to look at us with the head's facing up like that, then we would use the eye bones that we created earlier. So I'm just going to take the perspective points tool there, hold down Shift, and just move those up a little bit. So change the shape just slightly and move it up so she's looking out over our heads. And if we just scrub the timeline, you can see how that looks there. So that looks like it's working. Let's stay on frame 120. Then we need to do the eyelashes, and we're just gonna, I'll do these one eye at a time, but we'll just move them up. We shouldn't have to do too much with it. That one a little bit there. We'll do a test in a sec, but here we go. I'm just going to move that, holding down Shift as I slide them up and down. Just going to highlight that shape and rotate it a little bit. So we'll have a look, see how that translates. Okay, we've got that. Switch it to smooth and then back to linear again. There we go, and that fixes up. So that looks good. And shading is what we need to do now on the head, and we can move it up. And because the shading or the highlight is of the bridge of the nose, that's the first thing I'm going to do. That's for me the most important thing. So I'm just going to move that shape up, holding down Shift when I move all of the points together. Okay. Okay, that looks good. And then going to move the forehead highlight. So that forehead highlight won't move very far because the light in the room is kind of going to be coming from the same direction. So I think we just squished that one up a little bit. That's good. I'm going to highlight the shadows now. Actually, I'm going to move all of the shadows up there. There you go, that kind of looks good. And then I'll bring the top of the head shadows down a little bit. Right, and we'll see how that looks. No, I want to move that up a little bit higher. Couple of points we've got to adjust. That one there and that one there. Okay, and I think that's it. As this character does not have any ears, it's not an issue. Oh yeah, we got to move the chin. I keep forgetting that bit. Let's move the chin highlight, which will now be there. There we go. That is it. Now it's just from there on. More basically eyebrows, and these should just be a matter of highlight them all, move them up. There we go. Now the eyes and the eyebrows are on a different plane, and they will move at a different speed. So that looks good. I'm just going to take the perspective tool again, hold down shift, and then just move them up just a little bit. Now you've got that feeling that there's a little bit of 3D there, a little bit of depth. Now that is it. Now we're on the hair. So I'm going to then take the top of the head, the bangs if you will, they're not really, and I need to figure out how high up she needs to go. So I'm going to move that to there. Okay, because the front of the hair is moving up. I don't like that one. Let's go and do that last one I did. Okay. And the top of the head, which effectively is going to be representing what's on the back of the head, really needs to go down because that's now going down. And there and there. So that doesn't look too bad. Just move a couple of these. Oh, move a couple of these points down. And that one and that one. Oop, I'm on the wrong frame there, so you got to watch out for that. Okay, so that's probably fine there. And then we do this, the sides of the hair. Now, well, we've got two different things happening. We've got the top of the head, and I'm going to grab these ones here, and I'm going to pull those down because those are going to go down and those are closer to the back of the head. Those can go there, and I'm going to do the same on the other side as well. Okay, we're going to pull that down. We've got two sets of bones here for their hair. We then need to decide, if we haven't already, which bones represent the hair at the back and which bones represent the hair at the front. I'm going to say these ones represent the hair at the front, and those are going to slide up. There we go. How's that? I think that's fine. I need to move some points. I should have done that first. But what I'll do is I'll finish this side and that can come down there. No, it doesn't have to be lost. It can be subtle, but you get the idea. Now I'm going to go to the hair sides layer again, and I'm just going to take those static points and just move them up. Let's move those ones up. How about that? How does that look? Okay, and I'm actually going to just squish them up there a bit. Yeah. That point's been giving me trouble on this rig. I'm not sure why. That one specific point. There we go. That looks good. Oop. I've got a little bit up there. That's revealing the line on their hair, on their head I mean. So I'm just going to move those points down. There we go. How's that? How does that look? Looks pretty good. So I'm going to do those points first. So those are going to go here, and on that one there it is. So that will go there and there. Then we can go back to the bone layer for the head, holding down shift just to keep it up and just to keep it going smooth up and down. Move that bone approximately level with the other one, and I'm going to move that one down as well. And we should then see that move. That looks pretty good. We've got these hair as well to decide what to do with this one. I'm going to move that over there. Not really sure what to do with that one. It's not quite doing anything particularly predictable, but there we go. Okay, I'm just going to try and balance that in the middle. That's good. Going neither up nor down. I think I will do the same with that one, just so we got a bit of symmetry. Okay, and that's looking up. Super easy. Now we can do the head looking down. I'm just going to pick the other layer there, the other action heads up down. Go to 120, and we're going to reverse the process. So I'm going to hide everything that I don't need. I'm going to go back to the head, and then I'm going to move the mouth down. So the mouth's already highlighted. I'm just going to move the mouth down. I'm now going to take the jaw, and this is pretty standard to how I would do this. So we'll move that down, but because of the angle change, the jaw is going to look a little pointier. So I think that's pretty decent there, except I don't like where that part of the jaw is. I'm going to move that up. There we go. That looks good. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the cheekbones. The points that represent the cheekbones are there. I'm going to scroll that down, make sure that is where it needs to be. Okay, that feels okay. Then I'm going to take just a couple of these points and move that down as well. This head is going to be so this this head shape will really represent, won't be seen of course, but it'll help us to place the hair if we can get this right. So okay, I think that's about right. I think I'm inclined to pull that down as well. Okay, I think that's okay. We can always tweak it of course later. So that's the mouth. Then we do the nose. Of course there's very little to this nose design I've got here, but what we're going to do is we will position it where I think it needs to be. I'm going to head down a little bit, and I'm actually going to squash this down a bit, because we'll see less of the nose. That cute little turned up nose is now going to be a nose pointing down, and I think that's good. And now we move to the eyes. Okay, I'm just going to hide the bits I don't need, just use the eyes. And I don't think these are going to move very much at all with this angle. They're not going to change shape much at all, so I'm just going to move that down, make sure we're on the right frame there, the right, and so I think that's pretty decent. Then there we go. Let's highlight them all, just make it look really goofy. So the eye whites can come down. Just going to pull them down. I didn't make any shape changes, so this should just be as easy as highlighting them all and bringing them down. And then the eyelashes, highlight them all, drag them down. Okay, look at that. And we'll remember with the eyes that they are looking straight ahead, but when her head moves, she's still looking straight ahead relative to her, so she's actually looking below us there. Okay, right, now I've got that there. I can see that. I think the mouth is not moving down far enough, so I'm going to adjust that now. I'm going to move that mouth down a bit, and I think I am going to bend those points a bit as well. I'm going to push them up. Okay, and I'm also going to hold Alt and then just move them down back a little bit. And I still think that mouth is too close to the nose. Right, how does that look? Okay, so that'll be eyebrows. And again, I don't see too much need to change much there, but the eyebrows will be moving just a little bit faster than the eyes, just because of the distance away from the pivot. Okay, the bangs shouldn't be too much more, so that's actually coming down. Okay, I am going to take those 2 points and bring that down, and this will become a bit more prominent, I think. There you go. I think that looks good. And that's the bangs done, and now the hair on the sides. Right, let's learn our lesson. We'll move the static ones first, which are all of those. And I'm just going to move those down. I'm just going to take them all and just pull them down. I think that's going to be fine. Just take the static points again. I'm going to pull those down until those line up really at the top. That lines up there, and that one lines up there. Okay, that looks fine. Now, onto the head layer where the bones are. I'm now going to move this bone down, because that bone is representing the hair at the front of her head. Okay, so that will go down. But the ones at here would be most likely to go up, because they're more attached to the back of her head. Doesn't need to be a lot, but it'll help give us that 3D kind of look. Actually that seems to be making it look a bit static, so I am going to move it a different way. Let me just do that. There you go, that looks better. It's moving, it's still going down, but it's moving slower than the rest, so we got that. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to do the shading. Just going to pull that down. We need the nose first, which I'm just going to pull that down. I'll make sure that looks good relative to the eyes. Good. The highlight on the forehead. Okay, that can float a little bit because it's actually a highlight. The light source will technically be staying in one place. That I'm just going to bring down. Okay, that is okay, so that's the shadow. I think that is it. Let's go into the main line and see see how it looks. Right, so head up and down. Excellent. Let's see how it works with the head turn. So we know the head turn works, but if we do the head turn, we can mix these up and we can actually make it do some rather nice looking things here. But if you go too far to the extremes, you can just see it starts to break up. So you just got to know the limits of the rig, and we can get it moving sideways and looking up as well and looking over, and then we see it breaks up, so we can't take that too far to an extreme. And don't forget, these white spots you're seeing through here, if in fact they render that way, which they might not, will be covered by the back of the head as well. So that should be good. That will give us a nice amount of options for reactions. So that looks pretty good. When you're rigging smart bone dials, if you're mixing them like I am here, they are going to break down. I don't think there's any real way to prevent that from happening. If I spent hours and hours and hours and hours on it, so maybe weeks, I could probably get it working perfectly. But it's, the whole point of rigging the bones and rigging it like this is to speed up the animation process, not necessarily to make it perfect, but to speed it up. We can always adjust it in the final, when we finally do the animation. Don't forget, you can always adjust, you can always make changes, you can always add things. Best not to do too much work now that you're never going to use. Anyhow, that is Mona's head. That's actually the last one in the series of building Mona's basic body. Okay, so that's it. The basic rig for Mona is complete. Okay, I'll probably need to make some more additions and changes as I start to animate with this rig, as I usually do, but the basic rig is complete. So is there anything in this tutorial I went too fast on, too slow? Anything you want me to go back and focus on and clarify? Leave a comment. Love to hear from you. And don't forget, if you can imagine it, you can bring it to life.